Lockout tagout key codes vary depending on the organization, industry, and equipment involved. It is recommended to establish a specific key code system to ensure proper lockout tagout procedures. Only authorized employees who have been trained and certified in lockout tagout should have access to lockout tagout keys. The person who is responsible for operating or maintaining the equipment should have the primary key. The supervisor or designated responsible person may also have a key for additional oversight and control. Whether the supervisor should have a key depends on the specific lockout tagout protocol and organizational policy. In some cases, only the person working on the equipment has the key to prevent unauthorized access or overrides. In other cases, supervisors may have a key for the following reasons: 1. To verify that equipment is properly locked out and tags are in place. 2. To assist with emergency overrides if necessary, and 3. To ensure accountability and prevent unauthorized removal of locks or tags. Keys should be strictly controlled and accounted for. Establish clear procedures for key issuance, return, and replacement. Store keys in a secure location when not in use. Monitor key usage to detect any unauthorized or suspicious activity. Lockout tagout procedures are essential for workplace safety, preventing accidental startup or release of hazardous energy during maintenance or servicing activities. A well-defined key management system is a critical component of an effective lockout tagout program. First, let's discuss the importance of standardized key codes. Different organizations and industries may utilize various key codes, but the key is to have a consistent and documented system. This ensures that personnel can quickly identify the correct keys for specific lockout devices, reducing the risk of errors. Clear documentation of the key codes along with the corresponding equipment and lockout points is crucial. Secondly, access to lockout tagout keys should be restricted to authorized employees only. These are individuals who have undergone comprehensive training in lockout tagout procedures and have demonstrated competency in applying and removing lockout devices. This training should cover hazard recognition, lockout tagout principles, and the specific procedures for the equipment they will be working on. Unauthorized access to keys can lead to accidental equipment activation, resulting in serious injuries or fatalities. Thirdly, the person directly responsible for the equipment being serviced or maintained should have the primary key for the lockout device. This individual is the one who will be performing the work and is best positioned to ensure that the equipment remains energized throughout the process. By giving them control of the key, it minimizes the risk of someone else prematurely removing the lockout device. Fourthly, the role of the supervisor in key management needs to be carefully considered. In some organizations, supervisors may also have access to lockout tagout keys. This can be for several reasons, including verifying that equipment is properly locked out, assisting with emergency overrides, or ensuring accountability. However, it's crucial to establish clear guidelines and protocols for when and how supervisors can use these keys. Overrides should only be performed in exceptional circumstances and with proper authorization. Fifthly, in certain situations, it may be preferable to limit key access solely to the person working on the equipment. This approach provides an extra layer of security, preventing any possibility of unauthorized access or overrides. This is particularly important in high-risk environments or when dealing with complex equipment. Sixthly, key management is crucial. Keys should be physically controlled. A robust key management system is essential for maintaining the integrity of the Lockout Tagout program. This system should include procedures for key issuance, return, replacement, and storage. Keys should be numbered or labeled for easy identification and tracked to ensure that they are not lost or misplaced. When not in use, keys should be stored in a secure location, such as a locked cabinet or key box. Regular audits of the key management system should be conducted to identify and address any weaknesses or vulnerabilities. These audits should include a review of key logs, employee training records, and lockout tagout procedures. It's also important to monitor key usage for any unauthorized or suspicious activity. This can involve reviewing key access logs and conducting periodic inspections of lockout devices to ensure that they are properly installed and maintained. Furthermore, a clear policy should be established for replacing lost or damaged keys. This policy should include procedures for reporting the loss, obtaining a replacement key, and updating the key management system. To summarize, implementing a comprehensive Lockout Tagout key management system requires careful consideration of several factors. These include key code standardization, authorized employee access, supervisor responsibilities, and key control procedures. By following these guidelines, organizations can create a safer work environment and prevent accidents related to hazardous energy. Proper Lockout Tagout procedures, including effective key management, are not only essential for protecting employees but also for complying with regulatory requirements. Regulatory bodies like OSHA have specific standards for Lockout Tagout, and failure to comply can result in significant fines and penalties. In addition to the key management system, the Lockout Tagout program should also include other important elements such as written procedures, employee training, and periodic inspections. Written procedures should clearly outline the steps for locking out and tagging out equipment, as well as the responsibilities of authorized employees. Employee training should cover all aspects of the Lockout Tagout program, including hazard recognition, Lockout Tagout principles, and the proper use of lockout devices. Periodic inspections should be conducted to ensure that the Lockout Tagout procedures are being followed correctly and that the equipment is in good working order. The Lockout Tagout program should also be regularly reviewed and updated to reflect changes in equipment, processes, or regulations. This ensures that the program remains effective and relevant. By investing in a comprehensive Lockout Tagout program, organizations can create a culture of safety and prevent accidents related to hazardous energy. This not only protects employees but also improves productivity and reduces costs associated with injuries and downtime. When determining who should have Lockout Tagout keys, several factors need to be considered. These include the specific Lockout Tagout protocol, organizational policy, and the roles and responsibilities of different personnel. In some organizations, only the person working on the equipment has the key, providing an added layer of security and preventing unauthorized access. In other organizations, supervisors may also have a key for oversight and control purposes. Regardless of who has access to the keys, it's crucial to establish clear guidelines and procedures for key management, including issuance, return, replacement, and storage. Keys should be strictly controlled and accounted for to prevent loss, theft, or misuse. The key management system should also include a mechanism for monitoring key usage and detecting any unauthorized or suspicious activity. This can involve reviewing key access logs, conducting periodic inspections of lockout devices, and implementing security measures such as keycard access or biometric authentication. In addition to the key management system, the organization should also have a written Lockout Tagout policy that outlines the procedures for controlling hazardous energy. This policy should be readily available to all employees and should be regularly reviewed and updated. The Lockout Tagout policy should also address the issue of temporary Lockout Tagout situations, such as when equipment is being serviced or maintained by a contractor. In these cases, the contractor should be required to follow the organization's Lockout Tagout procedures or provide their own equivalent procedures. The organization should also ensure that the contractor's employees are properly trained and authorized to perform Lockout Tagout. Effective Lockout Tagout procedures are essential for preventing accidents and injuries in the workplace. By implementing a comprehensive Lockout Tagout program that includes a robust key management system, organizations can create a safer and more productive work environment. The success of a Lockout Tagout program relies on the active participation of all employees. This includes not only authorized employees who perform Lockout Tagout but also supervisors, managers, and other personnel who may be involved in the process. All employees should be aware of the Lockout Tagout procedures and their responsibilities. They should also be encouraged to report any unsafe conditions or practices they observe. A strong safety culture is essential for fostering employee engagement and ensuring the effectiveness of the Lockout Tagout program. This culture should emphasize the importance of safety, provide adequate training and resources, and encourage open communication and feedback. When selecting lockout tagout devices, it's important to choose devices that are appropriate for the equipment being locked out. The devices should be durable, tamper-resistant, and easily identifiable. They should also be compatible with the key management system. Some common types of lockout tagout devices include locks, tags, hasps, and valve covers. Locks are used to physically prevent equipment from being activated. Tags are used to warn others that the equipment is locked out and should not be operated. Hasps allow multiple locks to be used on a single lockout point. Valve covers are used to prevent valves from being opened or closed. In addition to selecting the right lockout tagout devices, it's also important to ensure that they are properly maintained. Locks should be lubricated regularly to prevent them from sticking. Tags should be inspected for damage and replaced as needed. Hasps and valve covers should be cleaned and inspected for wear and tear. Proper maintenance of lockout tagout devices helps to ensure that they will function correctly when needed. Lockout tagout procedures are not only important for preventing accidents and injuries but also for complying with regulatory requirements. OSHA has specific standards for lockout tagout, and failure to comply can result in significant fines and penalties. The OSHA Lockout Tagout Standard 29 Code of Federal Regulations 1910.147 outlines the requirements for controlling hazardous energy during servicing and maintenance activities. This standard applies to a wide range of industries and equipment. Organizations should carefully review the OSHA Lockout Tagout Standard to ensure that their procedures comply with its requirements. In addition to the OSHA standard, some states and local jurisdictions may have their own lockout tagout regulations. Organizations should also be aware of these regulations and ensure that their procedures comply with them. Compliance with lockout tagout regulations is not only a legal requirement but also a moral obligation. By implementing effective lockout tagout procedures, organizations can protect their employees from the hazards of hazardous energy. Lockout tagout is a critical component of a comprehensive safety program. By implementing a robust lockout tagout program and adhering to industry best practices, organizations can significantly reduce the risk of accidents and injuries related to hazardous energy. This creates a safer and more productive work environment for all employees. Let's consider a few specific examples of how lockout tagout procedures can be applied in different industries. In the manufacturing industry, lockout tagout is essential for preventing accidental startup of machinery during maintenance or repair. This could involve locking out electrical power, pneumatic pressure, or hydraulic systems. In the construction industry, lockout tagout is used to prevent accidental energization of electrical equipment or release of stored energy during excavation or demolition activities. This could involve locking out electrical circuits, disconnecting gas lines, or securing heavy equipment. In the healthcare industry, lockout tagout is used to prevent accidental activation of medical equipment during maintenance or repair. This could involve locking out electrical power, disconnecting gas lines, or disabling laser systems. These are just a few examples of how lockout tagout procedures can be applied in different industries. The specific procedures will vary depending on the type of equipment and the hazards involved. It is important to tailor the lockout tagout procedures to the specific needs of the organization. In conclusion, lockout tagout is a critical safety procedure that helps to protect employees from the hazards of hazardous energy. By implementing a comprehensive lockout tagout program, organizations can create a safer and more productive work environment. This program should include written procedures, employee training, a robust key management system, and periodic inspections. By following these guidelines, organizations can ensure that their lockout tagout program is effective and compliant with regulatory requirements. And remember, safety is everyone's responsibility. All employees should be aware of the lockout tagout procedures and their responsibilities. By working together, we can create a safer workplace for all. The ultimate goal of a lockout tagout program is to prevent accidents and injuries. By taking the time to implement effective lockout tagout procedures, organizations can protect their employees and create a culture of safety. This is not only the right thing to do, but also makes good business sense. A safe workplace is a more productive workplace. When employees feel safe, they are more likely to be engaged and productive. This can lead to improved efficiency, reduced costs, and increased profitability. So, let's all commit to making Lockout Tagout a priority. By working together, we can create a safer and more productive work environment for all. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Organizations should consult with qualified safety professionals to develop and implement Lockout Tagout programs that meet their specific needs and comply with applicable regulations. The proper implementation and maintenance of a Lockout Tagout program are essential for preventing accidents and injuries. By taking the necessary steps to protect employees from the hazards of hazardous energy, organizations can create a safer and more productive work environment for all.